Hello everybody, this is our tutorial for Accounting 582 and the date is June 4th. To start, well done to everybody. So far everybody has submitted all the assignments on time. I've been very happy and we haven't had to deal with any issues. Please keep it up. This is what Module 4 and Week 4 looks like. We have 2 tests, a case and an idea assignment. And the good news is that this is the speed that we will continue with right until the end. We will not have anything extra, no big project in the final week. It will look like pretty much like this as well. This is Module 4. You will see there are 2 guidance videos. You will have to search for these terms on YouTube, and you should find the videos no problem. I have 2 review videos for these chapters. You can find those terms on YouTube. However, I think those videos still have plosives, sounds in them, and I think I need to record those videos, re-record them. We're going to review 2 chapters. We're going to have a quick little look at idea, and these 2 little marks here mean that we'll do CentOS and other analytics topics when we meet again live on June 11th, same time, Sunday at 5 p.m. This is Chapter 7. It's all about anomalous outliers. This is our second chapter where we're looking at outliers, and we have the relative size factor and a few reasonably exciting cases. Let's have a look at the relative size factor test. This test was developed in the mid-90s when a company in Cleveland wired $600,000 in error to the bank account of a charity. They lost the money, and I thought that, wow, that $600,000 must have been way out of line with anything else that they sent to the charity, and the relative size factor test was developed. What we do is we break our data into subsets. We take the largest record for the subset, we divide it by the second largest record for the subset, and we're looking for cases where the largest record is way out of line with the second largest. If the second largest is 0 or negative, we just simply don't have a RSF for that subset. What we'd want is a report, and we'd want a report that says things other than the relative size factor, such as the number of records and the like, so that we can choose which ones to investigate. This is the output for the purchasing card transactions in the chapter, and you can see we have largest, second largest, and a huge ratio of largest to second largest. In this case, however, sometimes the $1 purchase is simply a test to see whether things are working correctly for that vendor. And what we also want to avoid are those cases where the second largest number is really small and it looks like a test of some sort. And so these first 2 relative size factors are not really indicative of what we might call normal transactions. You can go through it in the book. It has some discussion there. The relative size factor is very good at finding what I call the decimal point error. And this is where we owe the vendor $3,200, we leave off the decimal point and pay them $320,000 in error, and the vendor gets paid 100 times the invoice amount because of that little dot that should have been there but wasn't. When I've done these types of analysis, I've also found suspicious cases where the relative size factor, the largest divided by the second largest, exactly equal to 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, when the relative size factor equals 1, the largest and the second largest are equal. We've used this in perpetual inventory records, and we found cases where the largest was way out of line with the second largest, and that largest number was an error. I've worked with airline auditors, and we looked at alcohol sales on flights, and those were the days when you could still pay in cash. I think those days are long gone. This is the bloated bank vault, and we'll come back to a relative size factor examples for the tests. Melody was an assistant branch manager. Sorry for the font that's so small. And what happened was, at this particular bank, they counted the notes in the vault, but they didn't count the coins. So what Melody would do is she would steal cash in the form of notes, and then she would fictitiously bloat or inflate the coin balance to make up for what she had taken. Right at the end here, it says Melody was questioned about the balance by an external auditor, and she immediately confessed. I tried to correspond and be friends and get a little more information from Melody, but she wasn't that interested in chatting or talking. Patricia Smith, another case. This is big, $10 million. I call her a wheeler dealer, and we'll see why in a moment. You can go onto YouTube, and if you search for these terms, you'll find the various videos. I will also put some of the links in the description. I'm not sure whether the links and these three will exactly match. Here we go. She was in Pittsburgh at Bayer Acura. This was the modus operandi. Get a job as a controller. Fraud essentially is a betrayal of trust, and in order to betray trust, you have to be in a position of trust, and controller is a good way to be just like that. What she did was transfer funds from the normal bank account, into the payroll bank account, and then simply from the payroll bank account to her personal bank account. It's as easy as this. Transfer money. I'm sure you've done it yourself many times. Doesn't take more than a few clicks. She did this 800 times for a total take of $10.3 million. How did she conceal her fraud? Fake bank statements. And one thing that we do know is that auditors need original documents straight from the source, as in the bank, not bank statements from the accountant. Well, what she did was, since she's stolen the 10.3 million, I took this photo myself, and that is the dealership. To conceal the theft, when you've taken out 10.3 million, you need to create $10.3 million worth of debits. And what she did was, amongst other things, she inflated the vehicle inventory account by adding back previously sold vehicles. So it looked as if they had a much larger inventory than what they did have. She reduced a liability account fictitiously, and she wrote off some of those transfers to expenses. She spent the money lavishly. Gambling is a very expensive vice, and Patricia enjoyed gambling. She told her co-workers, friends, and family that she got rich by investing in airline stocks. Here's the problem. Airline stocks haven't made very many people any money at all. I think any modern updates of this would talk about investing in artificial intelligence stocks. She got an email from the CFO asking for explanations. She resigned, retained the services of a very expensive, well-known attorney, and did everything in her power to be called cooperative. She met with a payroll attorney by herself, usually not recommended by your personal attorney, and realized that they were considering whether to sue the external auditors. Got a notice from the IRS saying that her income tax returns were being audited. Now she has two problems, and not only one. She had her attorney ask for a reduced sentence because of her extraordinary cooperation. Well, that didn't work too well. So I have some links here, and I'll post these links in the description. You can see here restitution, name of payee, payroll, total loss, restitution ordered. Imprisonment for 78 months. And what you can see over here was all sorts of luxuries. She really had a very nice life. for somebody earning, I think, $53,000 per year. This was another case. This was a very serious director at Walmart. We'll just call him Tom. And the strange thing was, over a period of 10 years, he stole $306,000 worth of goods and services through fictitious invoices and the like. On the day that he was sentenced, he came to court with a check to repay everything. And we can see from this, and you can also see the links over here, he didn't need the money. His earnings in the year before he was caught was $6.1 million, and he goes and steals approximately $30,000 per year. I'm not sure why. These are one of the descriptions. He obtained a $200 Sam's Club shopping card. It was meant to be given to employees, and he goes and buys a flip cooler, 2 cases of Miller, 2 cases of Smirnoff, Jack Daniels, tequila, Crown Royal, and apparently a patio torch. I think you can figure out that Tom was about to have a party. Everybody can have parties, no problem with that, but you pay for your own party. Abnormal duplications. We looked at George Santos last week, and George certainly had some abnormal duplications. And what we're going to look over here is we're going to have exact duplicates, close duplicates, and this is where we're going to quantify the amount of duplication in a subset or a group of transactions. Same, exact duplicates, and we found that George Santos had several exact duplicates and strange duplicates and duplicates for large amounts. What we would also want to do is look for cases of near duplicates. But in some of the analyses that I've done, one of them was we looked for cases where the same frequent flyer number received the same amount of mileage deposited twice in the same day. Now, this can happen where somebody flies to a destination and flies back same day, but not that many people do this. We look for cases where members of a hotel's loyalty program stayed at different hotels on the same date. And here we have other tests listed below. Same. This is again the purchasing card transactions, and this is the example in the book. This is rather strange. We have same date, same agency making the payment, same merchant, $990 coming in just below 1,000, 14 times, same date, same agency, same merchant. Here we go, same date, same agency, same merchant, 11 times, 2,200. And again, there's a write-up in the chapter. I think you can look through it. These are cases where we have lots of abnormal duplications. Now we have odd things here with same, different. And the test I like to do on accounts payable data is same date, same invoice number, same amount, different vendors. Same date, same invoice number, same amount, different vendors. And this comes about when we pay the wrong vendor first, then the right vendor calls up and says, why haven't I been paid? We look in the system, it shows it as being unpaid, but it's unpaid to the right vendor. And then we pay the right vendor again, which is why we have 2 cases, same date, same amount, same invoice number, different vendors. This is all described in the book. You can go through it. We have another case where duplicate payments are used as part of a fraud scheme. You can see there, this was my article in the November-December issue of Fraud magazine. We will talk about this again on our residency day. If I look at my calendar here, June 23rd, it's coming up. On residency day, we will also talk about the Susan Thompson case. So hold your horses, it's coming up. This is the last test for looking for abnormal duplication in the chapter. And this is my formula called the subset number duplication test, SND. What we do is we try and quantify the amount of duplication in a subset. And we're looking for cases where we have subsets, lots of duplication, and we're interested in cases where lots of duplication is an odd phenomenon. I have the formula here as well. That's a summation. And what we do is we count the number of times each dollar amount occurs. We square our counts, and we divide it by the total number of records in the data set. So let's have a look here. This is a subset with those entries. We have 46 appearing 5 times, so that's, we go 5 squared. We have 1805 appearing twice, plus 2 squared, and we have 9 numbers, 9 squared. The more duplication in this subset, the more that number is going to tend to 1. 1 means a massive amount of duplication. 0 means no duplication. And let's just test things a little bit here. Again, this is from the book. 546, 2 1805s, an 83 and a 2. And the question is, in this example, if the last record 2 was replaced with 1805, the number frequency factor would, well, do what? So this is how we calculate it at the moment. 5 plus 2, 5 squared plus 2 squared divided by 9 squared, because there are 9 of them. If we change the 2 to an 1805, it's going to be 5 squared plus 3 squared. 1, 2, and another 1805 over there, divided by, still by 9 squared. And what's going to happen is the number frequency factor would increase. Here are a few more examples of things I hope you know. Question 7. In the Patricia Smith case, no reference to what? No reference to rationalization. We talk about why she wanted to spend, we talk about how she did it, and this isn't a driver at all. So answer is rationalization. A factor making Tom's case very difficult to detect was because it involved collusion. Collusion is when 2 or more people act together, and Tom had one of his subordinates help him with processing these fake invoices. And when there's collusion, always harder to detect, because we use segregation of duties as one of our fraud prevention methods. In the next test, same requires some creativity, otherwise false positives. False positives are events or transactions that contain all the characteristics of what you're looking for, but they're not what you're looking for, namely fraudulent or something like that. So a false positive, it pops up because it looks like what you're looking for, but it's not. A duplicate payment fraud, we're going to talk about that, and that's that case over there. A duplicate payment fraud, asking the vendor to repay using checks or wire transfers. They'll never repay in cash. If they repay using credits, well, the accountant then, or the treasurer, is not going to be able to get his or her hands on the money because it's a credit against future purchases. Bitcoin, I just put that in there. I think I should change that to Dogecoin or Ethereum or something next time I do the question. But the answer is checks or wire transfers. Ryan's case. Ryan's case is written up in the introduction. I took that photo myself. I was right there outside those premises, and that looks suspiciously a lot like the factory that I worked in as an accountant when I started out, but I didn't do any fraud. Ryan did, and I'm only showing you Ryan now because I'm hoping we can revisit Ryan's case in our residency session. One more thing. If we go to your class on the IDEA academic portal, you will see, this is what I see, but what you will see if you click around, you're going to see it somewhere, is Caseware IDEA academic certification. And we're talking about the exam. Click here to register for the exam. And what I'm going to do is I will talk more about this exam. It's a $20 fee, and you get CIDA academic exam certification. I'll tell you more about it. I still need to take the exam, and I am working through this document over here. And when I'm done taking the exam, I will tell you more about it. So I will sign off from now. For now, good luck with week number 4. I look forward to grading your submissions. I will look at the discussion board and see if you're posting any questions. Be sure to post things on the discussion board and answer other people's questions if you can. So from me, bye-bye for now.